My Aunt Eva, my cousin Wayne, Sheila, my sister Valerie, and Sharon in the background there with the bag in her hand. This was at 21 Reed Street in New London, Connecticut. We were going to take home movies and bring them over to, I believe it was North Haven. Not North Haven, I'm sorry. It was Mystic. This was 1964. There's my brother Robert. Like I say, this is 21 Reed Street in New London, Connecticut. And we were going over, and there is my Uncle Ed in the Pontiac. I believe it was a 55 Pontiac that he had. We were all going over there. We followed him in the car, my uncle's car, and we're headed down Reed Street. We're leaving now Reed Street, going around the corner to Columbus Circle, going up William Street. This has all been changed, and some of it's still there, some of it isn't. Making a right now onto William Street. That's Broad Street they're on. Now we're on William Street. That's my Uncle Ed in front of us with his 55 Pontiac. And Uncle Chris and Aunt Eva, I'm in their car, and we're going now over to the Gold Star Memorial Bridge. These movies bring back a lot of memories. We're transferring these onto video, of course. And we'll do the best we can with what we got to work with here. We're going up, I believe it is Flanders Road right now in Mystic Groton Town Line. Now we're turning onto Flanders Road into my Uncle Ed's place that he used to live at. There's my mom. My Uncle Ed bending down with the horseshoes. I'm not sure who the other fellow is. That's my cousin Wayne there in the white shirt, pitching shoes. My sister Valerie sitting on the back of the pickup truck. Now we're headed. Let me get this into focus here a little bit. Very difficult. We're headed up on Route 184 in Groton, over to the bridge, back over to New London. This is when they were working on the bridge. This is when it was a single span and they were widening it at that time. Now here's some more of my horsing around and my signs and so forth that I used to make. The movie is rated V for vomit, no one under 85 admitted. There is my Valerie, my sister, of course, and Sharon and Sheila going out for a little walk on Flanders Road there. Going down to the store, I'd imagine. Now, like I say, these movies were taken about 1964 or 65, right about in that area. When my dad died in 1963 of October, I didn't acquire a movie camera until the following year. Valerie with her little camera, I guess, of some sort. She was a great one for taking pictures and never having them developed. There's Bill Torgerson's 1941 Cadillac. Bill Torgerson looking under the hood of My Uncle Ed's car. Yeah, another game of shoes coming up. You can see the old one-holer outhouse in the background there. Boy, that area has changed now. You don't even recognize it. In fact, it doesn't even look like the same houses there anymore. I was up there a couple years back, and it's so different. Boy, if we can only bring back the old days. I'm kind of a stickler for reminiscing on the old times. I was always a sentimentalist. And we're back on the road again. Heading, I don't know where, but we'll find out. Okay, we're on 21 Reed Street here in New London, Connecticut. My Aunt Needie's standing out there waiting for my Uncle Ed to back out of the driveway. She's going to run right into that pole. Yep, so she wasn't watching where she was going. Yeah, these bring back the old days. This is 21 Reed Street, New London. They used to come over quite a bit and visit us. You know, quite often, even after my father died. I used to look forward to their visits and everything. We sure do miss them. This is when President Johnson came to town around 1965 to New London. That's after Kennedy got assassinated. I believe it was a year later that he came down through the William Street area of New London on over the Gold Star Bridge and over to Groton. And at that time I was photographing with my hand crank 8mm movie camera. All this was taken with the hand crank 8mm movie camera, as a matter of fact. And he was in a closed car, and I didn't know that because back in the Kennedy days, of course, he stood up. But he was in that first car, and I didn't realize it. I thought he was in this car, so obviously it wasn't. It was the secret agents that are in there. But you know, you live and learn. And I was holding the camera high above the crowd and trying to get a glimpse of him, but I didn't. They had a good-sized crowd out there. This is, of course, Hodges Square, William Street area in New London. Most of that area has been torn down and it's changed around. Some places are still there, others aren't. There's my mother's parakeet, Pretty Boy, as she would call him. That parakeet lived to be 8 years old. That's pretty old for a parakeet. Buried him right out in the backyard out here. Oh, Christ. Jesus Christ, what a sight. Skinny ass. Face like that to stop a clock. There's a parakeet again. Here's my, used to know him as Joe Balder there, a guy that used to be quite pals with there years ago. Kind of lost touch with him. Back in New London. He became pretty successful. He owns his own grocery store and everything. Oh, Jesus. Clothes 5 sizes too big for me. Skinny ass, rail, buck teeth. Christ. Enough to crack a camera lens, I'm telling you. Yeah, that was back in the days when I was working washing dishes in a hygienic restaurant in New London. I worked there for about 3 years or so. I liked it at that time. It was a steady job, and I worked from 10 to 7 in the morning, and I kind of was my own boss back then.